Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
And good evening to you. World Cup of Golf, Melbourne, Australia. Kingston Heath is off and running. The French team of Victor Dubuisson, Romain Lingasquet currently have it at 1 under through 1 out in the lead. It is alternate shot today, and this year it is a true team event, as team events certainly seem to be becoming more vogue. As we take a look at the World Cup of Golf and how they'll play over the next 4 days, two-man stroke play team event. No individuals this year, it's all team. First and third rounds are alternate shot. Second and final rounds are best ball. And with that, we welcome you into Golf Central. Ryan Burr, along with Trip Eisenhower and Brian Bateman. And Brian, team golf this year, no individual play involved. As we saw, alternate shot. The French team already has it at 1 under. Do you like the format change?
I do like the format change. Alternate shot's the most difficult of the two between the 4-ball and alternate shot, especially when you're starting day one, because there can be some tension on a team when you're doing alternate shot, because one player can do everything he's supposed to and the next player can let his partner down. But I do think it's a great change. A great field down there. There's probably going to be a little bit of jet lag and some players that haven't played recently. There'll be some rust as well on a very difficult golf course. So this format should fit this golf course very well.
Well, and the thing about Kingston Heath, too, the firmness of it, and you can hit some good shots that end up in some bad places.
Right.
And just because of the way that the golf course is set up. Wind typically a huge factor. And again, it's how you decide which players play which holes. That's what I love about it, the strategic element of alternate shot. You got to say, well, you know, the par threes might be better iron player, but he might not be a long player who can get to some of the par fives. So there's a balance of your strategy and how you attack this. But I love these team formats. I love it when the Ryder Cup comes around, the President's Cup, and now we get to see it in the World Cup. This is good stuff.
And no doubt about it. And of course, it's coming up an hour from now, so you get some of the best in the world on Golf Channel in the prime time here on a holiday, a Wednesday night. Going to be a lot of fun watching the action transpire today. So the American team that is over in Australia that will tee off an hour 10 from now. So you'll see plenty of Ricky Fowler teamed with Jimmy Walker. As you take a look at both world rank, of course, both were on the winning Ryder Cup team for Captain Davis Love III and the United States. Ricky Fowler choosing Jimmy Walker, and Ricky is the subject of tonight's Titleist Tour Report.
Well, it's my second time around the golf course. Played yesterday and then today. I like it. Nice to see the wind up today a little bit this afternoon, and hopefully it'll dry it out a bit and see this course play a little bit firmer and faster. But I've heard it's one of the greats down here, and definitely seems that way.
So, Ricky, excited to get out there and play this great golf course. We talked a little bit throughout the week about there is a rust factor, certainly, as this is not obviously a time of year where a lot of guys shut it down and enjoy the holidays. Fowler and Walker over there. Since Jimmy Walker won the PGA Championship, big drop-off in his game. What do you expect this week?
Well, I mean, that's typical. You get your first major. I mean, we saw it with Danny Willett, too. You know, playing great for a long time leading up to that. You get your first major, you relax a little bit, and I think that's what we're seeing, kind of that hangover from Jimmy Walker. But this team, you know, we talk about the accolades of how great they gelled in 2014 at Glen Eagles in the Ryder Cup. They lost a point. They have 3 of their 4 matches, and they lost their final match together. So, yeah, they like each other. Yeah, you would think their games would suit each other. But as a team, because of that, Davis Love did not pair them together at all in this last Ryder Cup. I think some of that had to do with Jimmy Walker's poor play recently. But you would think this team would be a formidable one. I've got too many question marks right now with the current form of both their games.
Well, Jimmy Walker's been battling his driver for probably since the PGA Championship. So, but he's a great putter. So you got someone who's good around the greens, good on the greens. It's a great partner to have. Ricky Fowler's kind of the opposite. He's been a ball striking machine, it seems like, in the past 6 months. He's had a balky putter. But these guys play a ton of practice rounds together. They know each other very, very well. And yes, you're right, Tripp. They haven't had as much success as partners, but this is a chance for both of them to kind of redeem themselves and right the ship, because I don't think there's 2 players in the field that know each other's games better than Fowler and Walker.
Both kind of fall under that Phil Mickelson camp, if you will.
Right.
Phil obviously said his goal was to go get Ricky his very first Ryder Cup point, something obviously he was able to accomplish as Fowler and Mickelson played a lot of golf at the Ryder Cup. The defending champ, the team from Australia, although it's a different team than this, but we will get Adam Scott, former world #1. We know how good, Tripp, he can be in his home country, teaming with Mark Leishman.
Yeah, this is what you would expect a formidable team out of these guys. One of the best iron players on the planet. It will be determined on how good Mark is with his irons this week. He was 127th on the PGA Tour in gaining strokes with his approach shot.
There is a pressure, there is an excitement that comes in playing in your home country.
Yeah, should be a good fun week. Obviously playing with Leash, mates from a while back on tour, and played some President's Cups together, and representing Australia in Australia, I mean, it's a pretty special week for us, so hopefully we can perform.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. First time I've represented Australia as a professional, and you know, pretty much my hometown on one of my favourite golf courses in the world.
Yeah, it was a big honour to win a couple years ago and get on that World Cup trophy with so many great names and such an amazing history in this event, so it'd be even better to be on it twice.
Oh, Brian, this is my pick on their home turf. I think that Leishman and Scott will play beautifully together. Talk about on this kind of golf course, knowing the course, playing it hundreds of times. How big of a factor can that be?
Well, Trent made a good point earlier that this golf course normally plays fast with a lot of wind. And a lot of times when you play a course that's fast, with wind, with tricky greens, tough getting up and down around the greens, it takes some local knowledge. Look, Mark Leishman is one heck of a player. He's only finished outside, I looked it up today, outside the top 70 on the FedEx Cup point list once in the last 8 years. So he knows how to play this golf course as well as anyone. And then Adam Scott is your pseudo defending champ, although we hadn't played it since 2013. But local knowledge in two players that know each other very well, again, the chemistry is going to add up to probably some low scores for these two players. That's a great pick.
And also, though, the ability to flight the ball. In Australia, that wind's real heavy. When it comes out of the south in particular, it's a cold, heavy wind, and you've got to be able to flight your ball. Nobody does that better than Adam Scott in controlling his distance in these kind of conditions. The other thing I'm reminded of is in 2013 when Adam Scott won his major championship at Augusta. He was playing with Mark Leishman, and there's a photo of Adam when he made that final putt, raising his hands, and there was, unknowns to Mark Leishman, Mark Leishman was giving a fist pump at the front of the green. He was so excited for his fellow countrymen. So we talk about Ricky Fowler and Jimmy Walker having good chemistry. That's some pretty good chemistry right there, and there's photographic evidence of it.
No doubt.
So these two really like each other, and so if there's that aspect of this team, another check mark in their column.
But with wind, as we predict, Kingston Heath always has wind. You're going to have to putt well. And Adam Scott how he putts is how he goes. And if he has a struggle around the greens this week, it's going to show up. If he's putting well, like he's done the last 8 starts, he's at 7 top 15s in his last 8 starts. I think he's got a lot of confidence in his putter right now, but it's going to depend on how well he rolls it.
And no doubt they will have the largest galleries out on the golf course. They'll have that momentum from the home crowd. Still to come tonight here on Golf Central, Henrik Stenson. We hear him in his own words after he's won the race to Dubai for a second time. Plus a homeless teen who overcame unbelievable obstacles because of the game of golf. This amazing story straight ahead.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Make a difference in your game. Shipsticks, the largest golf bag shipping company in the world, simplifying the way you travel.